welcome. Let's start this out properly. Welcome to the Big Brother Breakdown with Joleen. Welcome to the BB Breakdown with Joleen. That's me. Welcome to the Big Brother Breakdown with Joleen. That's me. I break down all things BB21. Tonight we will be talking about the episode that we've been waiting for all summer. Jessica Milagros, mwah, thank you for doing what no one else could do, putting these two jackasses on the block, getting one of them out, winning the POV, keeping them the same, telling the house, I'm not afraid to break a tie, standing in your power, standing your ground, filling us with great feeds this week, having sleepovers every night with Kat and Nicole, this little 3-person romance they have going on. I am all here for it. I love it. If you guys have been catching the feeds, Jess, Nicole, Kat are in the bed together. They're laughing, they're girl talk, they're strategizing. They are basically planning to take over the world. And it has been so great to watch. And they've been vulnerable around each other. It's just really, not to get all weird on you guys, but I am weird. It's been kind of beautiful. When we see a season full of sex stools and crabs and bigotry, to see these women rise up, work together, get the job done, get one of these jackasses out. I am so excited. Yeah, Jessica saved the season, you guys. Jess isn't afraid of the crabs. And you see Nicole had a little bug crawling on her when she was sleeping in the HOH bed. Such a happy Jack eviction day. Dude, I'm saying dude, not dude. Jack eviction day trended on Happy Jack Eviction Day, I think it was the exact hashtag, trended on Twitter. It was a beautiful moment. We underestimated Jess. We did. She chose her moment. She took her shot and she freaking nailed it, you guys. She nailed it. Oh, I almost played it again. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Brother Breakdown with Joleen and my very special guest that I have been telling you about, BB21's own Jessica Milagros. How are you, Jess?
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm doing good. I'm sweating. It's really hot out here, so
oh my gosh,
just trying to stay cool.
You're in an area where it's humid too, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, insanely humid. I'm in Chicago, so that's what it's all about over here.
Mm-hmm. No, I grew up in Minnesota, so I totally get the humidity. Now I'm out in Palm Desert right now during the pandemic. So it's like 114 degrees, but it's a dry heat. It's a dry heat.
Wow. Yeah, we're at like in the 90s. We're in the 90s right now. So
that's a lot with humidity. That is a lot. So everyone, we got lots of people joining us in the chat. A lot of people excited to see you guys. Make sure you give a thumbs up to the video. Leave your comments and questions. I'm going to be picking a couple of them and asking Jess. We are just going to have a fun conversation, you guys. There might be a little bit of, we're working on some tech issues, so Jess might freeze here and there, but we can always hear her, which is perfect. But we would like to see her beautiful self as well. No, don't ever apologize. Speaking of which, Jess, like, how's the family? How's modeling? How's everything?
You know, family's good. My immediate family, my husband, my daughter, we're doing really good. Just, you know, trying to self-isolate.
Oh, I think we might have lost Jess. We'll wait for her to join us back in. If we have a couple of technical issues during the stream, you guys, we're going to get through it. And we are going to keep talking about Big Brother. So Jess, if you're out there, just dial back in. We're not new to technical issues here on the channel because we go live with Nana, and Nana has issues too. So we're used to it. Okay, we're back.
They hate me. They don't want this to happen. They just know it's going to be too good. That's the issue.
We are good at. Yes, you are going to be giving us just the Big Brother tea. You're going to unveil what's BB22. It's All Stars. Jess knows it all. She's going to tell us.
Yeah, they know. It's the government there's a conspiracy out there. They know that I'm going to give you guys a hot, juicy tea, and they're just like, turn this off. Break the internet right now. That's what they're telling me.
You're definitely still friends with Kat if you're talking about conspiracy theories, I think.
I don't know, friends in general. When I say friends, like friends is a very loose term nowadays. I am friends with Kat. It's just like other people in the Big Brother community. Like now I know it's kind of like you got to use that word friends very loosely.
Yes.
You know, it's like, while I do consider them my Big Brother family, I mean, when you're talking about friends, it's people like who literally, you know, call up, check up on you, have your, best in mind when you're talking to each other. And that becomes a little hard in the Big Brother community. So
I'm sure, because it's a lot of, I mean, I totally get it, just being living in LA, a lot of your peers in entertainment, and you're in modeling, you're in entertainment, you know that sometimes there can be, you know, this kind of fake, you know, like just a friendship, but it's not someone checking in on you. And that's okay. We lost Jess again because we were getting real juicy, and she's going to come back. We're going to get even juicier about this friend conversation. So you guys are sticking with us, and we're still having fun. And I do think this might be a government conspiracy or a CBS conspiracy against us. So we'll just wait till we can see Jess again, and we'll add her here, and we're still having fun. And we're going to ask her all the questions. I love Sarah from Nerdtainment says, we're patient. Shout out to Nerdtainment, you guys. Make sure you sub to Sarah, because we cover BBAU on Thursdays. Jess, you're back.
Yeah, I honestly really should have like gone to my apartment versus trying to stick it out in this house, because I wanna quickly say, guys, I'm having some Comcast-ish, some internet issues. I've been talking to my internet company. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Comcast, Xfinity. You guys suck.
Yes, they do. They do. They really do.
So
don't worry about it. This, like, I go live with my mom a lot, and she always has issues, and I think she might have Comcast as well. Actually, I think she has CenturyLink, and it's always like sometimes she has to dial in, and I hold my phone to the speaker. So this is actually an improvement from that, Jess. So do not even worry about it. So we were talking some juicy tea about friendships outside of the house. We'll just jump right in, just in case we do lose you. So who is it from your cast, BB21, that you actually consider like a friend, or is everyone kind of like, well, we were on a show together, like you were saying, we're family, or are there people who check in on you and are like real friends?
Oh, definitely. I would say at this point, when you're talking about genuine, like genuine connection, the closest person to me is Kemi. I talk to her pretty much every day, if not every other day.
That warms my heart, because you are two of my favorites, and I wanted you to be. I wanted Black Widow to work. I'll never forgive Bella. Like the way you guys had the hand thing and everything. Jess, were you devastated that lasted 2 seconds?
I mean, absolutely. And I think that Kemi and I still talk about it, like on what could have been. And you know what? Like Bella and I are the epitome of not friends. So like it's not nothing against her, you know. She's just not someone that I would genuinely probably get along with in real life, or not get along with, but hang out with in real life. We're very, very, I mean, you know, she's like in the beginning of her 20s, and I'm like at the end of my 30s. It just there's nothing that we have in common.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as a Big Brother player, it was just, it's upsetting, because she had a position in the house that people would envy. Mm-hmm. You know, she had it made. She was in a position where she could have gone really, really far had she known how to play the game. Exactly. And, you know, and I mean, and she has said it before that she's never watched Big Brother. She never played Big Brother. So she really didn't know how to play the game. And she was literally playing the way like that. I mean, she lives her life. So
yeah, which would make sense why you wouldn't want to be friends with her. All shade there. She did admit on the live feeds that she was recruited and she had never seen the show before, and she seemed pretty proud of that. And yeah, I don't really blame you. On my channel, we have we're very opinionated about certain BB21 players, and Bella was a huge disappointment for me because I had such like high hopes going in, because we watch all you guys, like us Big Brother fans, you probably know by now, we're crazy. And we watch the pre-interviews and we really dissect it. We do videos about it. And I had high hopes for Bella, and she was probably one of the most disappointing to me. So. Yeah.
And the thing is like, with, I think what a lot of life leaders would know, like that first week that you don't see what goes on, a lot of stuff happens. So in all honesty, a lot of us knew that Black Widows was not going to work. Mm-hmm. I literally was a part of Black Widow mainly because I needed to keep tabs on Bella, because I didn't trust her as far as I, could throw her. So that I needed to be in that alliance, mainly to put myself in a good position with her and to keep Kat safe, because Bella wanted Kat gone. So those are things that they didn't show, and you couldn't see in the live feeds because it was pre-feed. That was like literally the first week of the game.
That's always the hardest thing as a fan watching, because all this stuff happened, because we saw a little leak of the live feeds that first week. Big Brother always does that to us. They'll give us a 2-3 minute little leak. And we saw, we heard rumblings that this Kat and Jerkson hookup was happening. Sorry, I don't call him Jackson, I call him Jerkson. And so we heard rumblings of that, but like, what else happens that week? What's that week like? The cameras are on you, but they're telling you none of this is going to air?
Yeah, basically it's a week to kind of get us it's just a week to get us acclimated to the house, acclimated to the things that we can and cannot say. The cards go off and you kind of know, oh, you can't say that. Oh, you can't say that. Oh, you can't say that. And everybody kind of gets all of their swearing out of the way. They get all of their, whatever it is that they feel they need to get out. Stuff that you would never say, on live feeds, so that everybody knows this is how it's going to be, So the problem is that a lot of the players didn't stop after the first week. They just kept going. It's like, well, this is supposed to be kind of, a cleansing of sorts. Like, these are the things that you should know that I'm never going to admit in real life. But then they just kept going.
That is so funny, because it's like they give you a week to be like, hey, don't be a dickhead. Like, don't say this stuff. Don't be a bigot. Like, here you go. And then, like you said, a lot of your fellow cast members just did not listen to that. Now, for you in the house, what I noticed right away is that you recognize things in, like, I'll just say Mickey, I guess I'll call him by his whatever name, and then also Jack. And I feel like you were there was a lot of times in the house and it took until your HOH that you were trying to convince these people, like, hello, these guys, I mean, why anyone would keep these two strong dudes who have now paired together, and it seemed like you must have been so frustrated, Jess. Like, I can't even imagine how frustrated you were in that house.
There was a lot of frustration, definitely a lot of frustration. I think a lot of people probably saw it on the feeds as like I didn't give two shits, or that I was just not playing the game. And what a lot of people, and I mean, some people don't realize this, but I've had a lot of people come at me and tell me that they recognized it was me laying low due to the fact that they kept on putting me on the damn block. And so I was a target from really, really early on. I was the only woman who stepped up to the plate for being camp director. Looking back at it, probably not the smartest thing, but it is true when people say, when you go in there, you forget who you want to be, how you want to play, and then you become who you really are. And technically, by nature, I'm a leader. I'm a very passionate woman. I'm a very strong woman. And I think that they put me on the show because they knew there were going to be some alpha males that needed to get taken out by a very powerful female. And I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna apologize for that. But however, I also did want to win the $500,000. So I really had to tone it down. And it was really hard for me to play that squeaky, like just the shy little mouse, or I purposely didn't go into conversations because I knew what was going on. I just didn't trust anybody. It's really hard. You at least need to have one or two people you can trust in a house, but like I literally trusted zero. Even with people who thought that I would trust Nicole, and I'm friends with Nicole and I love her to death. She's an amazing girl. But in the house, she was aligned with people that I couldn't understand. And so I couldn't trust her to a certain extent either.
Yeah, and I know you got a lot of shit for that, but I really saw where you were coming from with that. Like, obviously, we all love Nicole. We were cheering for her after the whole bully situation, and then you were there for that. And I just remember you had your cute little shorts on, and you were like, "Are they? I think they're screaming." And when they're up, hateful, grateful, undeniable, whatever they were called at the time, including Loud Sam. And I understood where you were coming from, because my frustration with Nicole was that she was still aligning and befriending, and maybe that was for her own game. And also she's a lot more empathetic and forgiving than I am with
Absolutely.
like Nick, aka Baby Banks. He was one of the most disgusting people I thought on the season. And I think you saw his true colors right away. And you were like, if you can work with him, how can I trust you?
Absolutely. So, I don't know to where, like, I don't know how much you guys saw or what the first, what the first episode was that you saw with the live feeds, but Nick and Bella actually right after, Bella had exposed Black Widows, they were on my #1 hit list. Nice. And originally it was Jack and Jackson. Obviously they knew I was targeted by them. There was a lot of things that I could not deal with in terms of them being condescending and mansplaining things. And, there was just a lot of this tension in the air. However, with Nick and Bella, Bella early on, like maybe the second day I was there, was telling everybody's secrets. And I was just sitting there like watching her do this. And I was like, there's no way in hell like I have this girl here. She needs to go. Like, she's going to ruin everybody, not just my game. She's going to ruin everybody's game, and ruin relationships while she's at it. But at that time with the whole, Nicole was definitely at that point playing both sides. She was trying to figure out who she could stick with. Was it going to be, the 6 shooters, or was it going to be like, Bella and Nick and Sam. So she was trying to kind of figure out where she was kind of gonna fall, so to speak. But it was always kind of like, I knew that Bella was doing certain things, and that Nick was telling me, Nick was always like, you're good, and lying, obviously. And Nicole would always say, don't trust him. Don't believe him. He's a liar. He's this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, I know he is. And then she like starts to align with him and become like besties with him. So those were one of the things I'm just like, what is she playing? What game is she playing? And it was like the Nicole game which is, I'm an actual really nice, sweet person. Yes. And I want to be nice to everybody. Mm-hmm. But when you're playing a game, you don't realize that. You think there's other motives behind that. Well, yeah, because you're kind of the company you keep in this game, with Big Brother. It's like who you work with defines kind of who you are. Absolutely. And I mean, I told everybody like that I was going to play a very honest game. I told everybody that, I have kids, I have a child, mm-hmm. and I have, responsibilities and a job, a baby mama that like watches me doesn't know anything about my life. Why am I going to start with like a backstabbing, two-timing, Big Brother edit, and then her being like, oh my God, who's raising my child? Right. It's just not a good look for me. But I did tell everybody that I was playing a pretty honest game. For the most part, I did, but they didn't necessarily believe me. It's not, I could have said, yeah, I played as honest a game as I possibly could. And people still, are just like, this bitch is, fake. She wants to, she's doing something behind my back. Like, I mean, I even went so far as to tell people that I wasn't going to backdoor them because I believe that they deserve a fair chance. If this is going to be yours, it's going to be yours. I don't need to be backdooring anybody. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm too nice.
I mean, when you get the chance to do it again, Jess, because I mean, wouldn't it be amazing, you guys, now that we know that Jess and Kemi are friends and talk regularly, if we get like a partner season or something going forward, I mean, who cares? Just, I mean, kind of like how BB6 happened. Like we didn't know people knew each other, but obviously we would know you two knew each other. But eventually, pretty soon, we knew people knew each other. And what if they sent people back in and then you two could go in and just dominate it? It would be amazing. Would you go back to Big Brother? I guess that's a question I want to ask.
That would be nice. That would totally be nice. I would love to do that. I think, yeah, if given the opportunity, the right opportunity, I think, I don't know of a Big Brother contestant that would say no. They really, really hated, you know, the Big Brother family, you know, or CBS or whatnot. I have a really good relationship with CBS. I love Big Brother. I've been watching since before. So, and obviously a lot of Big Brother contestants always say that they would love a second chance to kind of prove otherwise, to, you know, to do something differently. I would love to just be unapologetically myself. You guys got a lot of the memes, you know, the meme Jessica, meme queen, you know, faces, and like the bullshit face, and I'm over this face, and are you stupid face, and all that without having to say it. But I would like to say, are you stupid? Are you, does this look like I'm buying your bullshit? Like, because I would honestly talk to someone like that. I was just being a very, very nice person.
I want to see this so bad. I feel like you're giving me Sandra vibes from Survivor. Like I feel like you're like Sandra, like just calling people out, which is difficult, you guys, especially in the CBS community and Big Brother community, because fan-wise, they don't usually take too well to women acting that way and powerful. Men can do that, but we haven't really seen a lot of women get, you know, Rachel Riley was a little bit like that, and there are people who hate her for it, and I love her for it. I love that she called people shit out. I love that she said, floaters grab a life vest, Kristen. You know, we love that. And like Val is saying here in the chat, we need more strong women like Jess in the house so a female alliance can finally make it.
Yeah, you know, everybody's going to keep on telling me that female alliances do not work, but I'm going to hold out on it. I think that if there's enough of us women that get on the show and kind of show other women how to be empowered, you know, I don't know. It's this, they don't do it because they don't see it. You know, like people wouldn't necessarily think that me as a plus size woman would be able to do any of the things that I did. And God, like I didn't win any of the, you know, physical competitions. Obviously, that's not why I went on the show, you know, but I went on the show to say that I could do it. You know, I could be if I wanted to, like if I really, you know, if I really tried. And I could, and the thing was that I was never last place. Oh, well, that's a lie. Let me not lie. Like in the Vines, I was the very first one out. And I was the first one out in like the Color Wars, which is the very first, the very first comp. However, what they don't show you is that literally they gave me an hour of rest. I had just come out from banishment. So, I came out right out of banishment and went straight into, you know, took a shower and then went straight into the first comp. So I was really the only person who had gone through, you know, honey and maple syrup and feathers and all that other bullshit. And then they put me in, you know, so there's a lot of things that that's my excuse for it. At least I was exhausted. Minus, you know, the big boobs that couldn't hold on to a damn, you know, that couldn't hold on. I just couldn't. Like my boobs would not let me.
They need to make allowances for boobs. Like they have to recognize some of us have actual boobs. And so with those challenges, they need to have like a booby lady try it out first.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like they say, you know, in a wall challenge, it is very rare that someone like Jackson would win something like that. Those are meant for the Nicoles and for the Annalises, you know, like the small little girls that can hold their body weight because they hardly weigh anything. So that's what those competitions are, you know, are favoring. So it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with strength and endurance and mindset, how, all of that other stuff. It's so.
Yeah, I wish that Big Brother, I think there's a lot of criticism now, and some of the even bigger channels that cover Big Brother, like Per Diem and stuff. I don't know if you know of that channel, but he really breaks it down and does a great job of it. There is criticism with, it's like when you get, especially to that final, the final 3 and the 3-part HOH competition, it's just, it doesn't have to be so physical, because this is really a very social game and social experiment. And there could be more puzzles and stuff. I don't think we should have to have people in there who are like CrossFit Christmases in order to compete in these challenges. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, for that, you go on the challenge.
Exactly.
That's the show that you want to play. Like, I think it's the evolution of Big Brother. And I honestly, obviously, I'm not part of production, so I don't know the route that they were trying to go on that. We all know, whoever was a Big Brother fan knows that this was probably the season with the most physical competitions.
It was, yes.
Which was insane, because I went in thinking, okay, it was going to be the wall and I was probably going to hang on something. But other than that, like, I could do pretty much every, I would probably be able to do well on everything else. Like, I almost won the POV for Froggy Style, which was the one with Kemi and I. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody was really pretty much tit for tat, because things kept on falling. People were going back and forth. At the end of it, I was the one with the second to most frogs up on the puzzles. But that was also an endurance comp, because you're going in and out of water. It was like going back and forth. But the idea that it was so physical, even those last 3 comps this past season, mm-hmm. It was a little alarming, to be quite honest.
Yeah, and people did notice that. Now, speaking of, we did mention a banishment. Now, when we're covering this, like, everyone who covered Big Brother was like, this is some bullshit. When Jackson put you, David, Cliff, I mean, did you look around like, I know what you are doing? I feel like through watching feeds and stuff, there was a lot of times that the people of color in the house, that you wanted to say something and say, like, scream, but also, you probably know, as a Big Brother fan, there's a lot of backlash when a person of color on Big Brother calls out these inequities and bigotry. And so it's like, it's all the responsibilities on you, when really it should be, some, like, a white ally in the house should really call that out. But did anyone else besides you, David, Kemi, like Ovi, look at this or ever talk to you and say, I think that might have been racially motivated, whether it's subconscious or conscious? Did anyone talk about that besides you guys?
No. The closest I think that we had conversation was with Nicole, and it wasn't even really based on that we felt like we were being targeted because of our race. It was just a conversation about race. Mm-hmm. And she basically said she didn't see color, and that was the one time that we sat down and had a conversation with her on why it was important to see color. Mm-hmm. And those were obviously probably conversations that weren't shown on the live feeds. I'm pretty sure they weren't. I
don't remember that conversation. I've
had conversations with Kemi regarding race, with David regarding race. But I think from my family members would tell me that they, whenever I would talk, like, cameras would go somewhere else. Yes. I think that was just like the thing to do. Maybe I don't know. I didn't watch the live feeds, obviously, from my season. I just seen clips here and there. Mm-hmm. But no. And the thing is, I was upset at obviously being put in that position, specifically with banishment. More so because Jackson said that we were safe. Mm-hmm. We had all agreed that whoever raised their hands to be camp director were going to be safe, because we were the only ones with the balls to take on the responsibility. Yes. And we all shook on it, and he agreed. And then he put all 3 of us up. And that was kind of that first slap in the face, and me knowing that he needed to go sooner than later. But then knowing that he was also, him and Jack at that time in my eyes were pretty, they were sitting pretty, and I needed to play nice. And a lot of people didn't understand my reasonings behind, you know, picking Nikki for, you know, for a POV and why I did that. And it wasn't because I was kissing ass. It was more so like me showing him, like, I want to show you that I kind of trust you, but at the end of the day, I don't, because I know you're not going to use it. And I need, if nobody's going to use this, I know Kemi's the target, and I need someone who's not going to use it, versus someone like Nicole, who's going to have like this episode of, oh my God, Kemi and Jessica are both my friends, and so I don't know what to do. And I, you know, and at that time she favored Kemi more than she favored me. So it didn't make sense, you know, for me to do something like that. Whereas people were just like, why is Jessica being so stupid and not asking Nicole to do this for her? And it's like, no, Nicole wouldn't have. Like, just like I knew she wouldn't pick me versus Cliff. I knew they had a final two. There are certain things that you just kind of, that you just know, from living with them, from engaging with them and seeing the ins and outs and the day-to-days. And yeah, and it doesn't make them any less of a, of a friend. You just, sometimes you just don't play well together,
Yeah, I think we've seen that on many seasons. I mean, just a season that comes to mind is, I remember Janelle's season 6, she and Beau went, like, they got drunk and yelled at each other, and then outside of the house in real life, they're best friends. So you never know.
Absolutely.
They were on two different
lines.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's like me and Kemi. Kemi's like, bitch, I never trusted you in that house. I was like, bitch, I didn't trust you either. And we were very honest about it. And it's not because I think in a different season we would have gotten along, except that we were pegged in a season where it was almost impossible to align ourselves with each other because we were both fighting for our lives. Mm-hmm.
Oh, we did lose Jess, but I know she'll come back, you guys. This is getting good. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us. And as soon as she is back, we will add her right back. And here she is. And we are still rolling, Jess. That was a pretty good run.
It was a good run. I was going to say, it was
yes. Keep it going.
Maybe my computer is overheating or something because I have no air conditioning. They're just like, nope, that's not gonna happen.
You look beautiful despite having, I'm always a sweaty mess with my wig on. And I have AC
summer glow
coming at me. Yeah. So what was it exactly that was hard for you and Kemi to actually work together? You were explaining that.
It was just, we were pegged. We were pegged against each other from very early on. Kemi is someone who doesn't really I don't think she really trusted anybody, to be quite honest. And the person that she did, which was Bella, and I didn't. So there were things that I would kind of just say, okay, I'm not going to be anywhere around Kemi, because I knew the overall vibe of it was that she was a goner. And that sucks. It sucks. It's a game. But also, mind you, it wasn't in my thought process. We didn't see any of the racial BS that happened, behind the scenes.
Yes.
Behind closed doors. We feel it, obviously you feel a certain way. You feel there's a bias. You feel that there's tension. You feel there's certain things that you feel that you can't really explain, but I'm not going to go here and be like, I'm going to call out, bullshit and racism because,
that's what's so
I'll be the crazy ass Latina that's like, you're targeting me because I'm Latina, you ass. Like, and then get like a crazy Latina edit, like, this bitch is crazy. I mean, I am. Don't get me wrong.
But
I
in
totally
the best
am.
way possible, Jess. Like there were moments on the feeds, and I know you didn't watch the feeds, but we did. And there was some really moments where us viewers, we just like our hearts broke for you because there was, I remember a certain part on the feeds where you were in the bathroom and Kemi was, I think, doing her hair and David was there and you were there and you guys were kind of talking about the racial issues, but you were, being very careful to dance around it. Again, I think, and this is just me speaking as a white lady, so feel free to correct me, because there is that stigma of, like you said, if you call it out, here we go. Jess is the one that's like kind of, calling out race and making it a thing so you would get blamed for it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So you guys were, but it was beautiful to see you guys able to talk to one another about the struggle, because our frustration as Big Brother viewers is that we so often see any people of color that go in the house, they don't just get to play the game. So when Andy Herron came out recently saying, oh, they never invite me back, blah, blah, blah. I don't feel bad for Andy Herron because his co-stars, his castmates who were of color, being Howard, Helen, Candace, didn't even get to play the damn game because they were too busy fighting off bigotry. So you guys not only have to be in this super just stressful situation and social game, but you also have to fight these implicit biases and all these things that are going on that a white contestant doesn't have to battle. So it's almost like you're playing two games. It's like, okay, I clearly see what's going on here, but I can't recognize it. I mean, it just must be so frustrating. I wish I could be more eloquent about it, but as a viewer, it's very difficult to watch, and we all sit there and we get pissed, know?
I think you stated perfectly. In any given situation, like I would love to go in and just play the damn game. I went in thinking I'm just going to play this damn game. Quite honestly, what I was more worried about were that I wasn't going to be able to connect with anybody because people were going to think that, that I was fat. You know what I mean? Or, I had more of the big girl stigma on my mind than I did, like, being Latin or thinking that this was going to happen, because it's like, come on, this happened in 15. Like, this isn't going to happen. It didn't happen in 20. Why the hell would it happen in 21? Everybody seemed super cool. Everybody, was playing. Actually, I was getting kind of bored because like I was telling people in the diary room, I was like, all this kumbaya bullshit. Like, when are people gonna pick sides? When, like, I'm so confused right now, because everybody was just playing this, just like super nice, and everybody just genuinely seemed to be good friends, and for the most part, we're all very cordial, and we're all, we're very nice to each other in front of our faces, you know.
It's so like Bravo TV, like Real Housewives. Like, I love it.
In front of my face, I can't say anybody's been nothing but nice to me. I mean, but at the same time, I've also, heard people saying that my body should be thrown, in traffic, and, that I'm Consuela, and, all of these other things. And I was just like, wow, like I kind of felt it, but I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt, and
have any of these people apologized ever for the things that have come up?
No.
Never.
No.
Which I see, because I saw Jackson posted an apology. He was all lives matter for like ever and a day. And then I don't know if you followed the challenge, but Dee from the challenge was fired for some racist comments she made on Twitter about Black Lives Matter and that. And Jackson, we know from watching the feeds and his drunken fights with Holly that he wanted to go on the challenge later. So we all who watched the feeds and stuff were like, oh, Jackson is clearly doing this now Black Lives Matter thing and an apology because he wants a spot on future shows, whether it be coming back on Big Brother or the challenge. So that just fits into what we all believed about Jackson, that I feel like if he really meant it, it would be based on the actions he did outside of the house, having been a year now since he entered it,
Yeah. I mean, I can't speak for him and how he truly feels. I can only go by the current situations. And for me, if you haven't apologized or owned up to the things that you've done, like, this is what I want to see. I want to see those people that say they are the problem, or that they acknowledge that they are or they have been the problem, and also say, I know that I will never know. I want you to own up to what you've said.
Yes.
You know, I want you to say, I am a problem because I say the N-word at songs. I'm the problem because I did call this person out. Mm-hmm. I'm the problem because I told this person that they needed to walk into traffic. I am this problem because I was harassing them, verbally abusing them, gaslighting them, manipulating them. You know, that's more of an apology to me, mm-hmm. with receipts.
Yes.
Than just a blanketed statement saying, you know, I care about people, or like, for you to be the least racist person that you know, I think let's step it up a notch. Be the most anti-racist person that you know.
Exactly. I think that's very well said, because you are the company you keep, and I guarantee his group probably just thinks the same as he does. And that reminds me of a certain time on the feeds where you were in the HOH room and Jackson decided to, say, am I aggressive or not aggressive, or I forgot the wording he used, but towards women. And we all knew that, yeah, you're a misogynist, dude. The way he spoke to Kat, the way he spoke to other women in the house, we saw it all summer. But he asked you and put you on the spot. Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah, I do. And I actually got some shit about that. Look, when you're asking me who's more aggressive between a Jack and a Jackson, mm-hmm. I will say Jack 1000%. Is Jackson aggressive in the way, like, he works out, in the way he says things? Absolutely. I personally, in the way that he comes off, mm-hmm. To me personally, he doesn't come off as aggressive as I've seen some men. People call me aggressive, you know what I mean? So it could also be just of a person's tolerance level, to who's aggressive. I'm not saying he's not aggressive. Like, he scared the living shit out of us during, the Vine, during the Poison Ivy challenge, in how, how hard he went for that. And he's just there's different types of aggression. You know what I mean?
Yes. I think you probably saw through him, because you are a very strong woman. And so you were one of the ones who weren't misted by his jaw, or whatever they were misted by, that you were just like, okay, I feel you're like a little baby boy. You know what I mean? He's just he's a mama's boy who needs watermelon 24/7 and eats out of the trash and then brings it in the garbage, or in the shower.
To me, he called me Mama J. He said he was doing things to protect me. I saw all through that bullshit. You know what I mean? But he was never quite as aggressive in my face. Believe me, if those things would have come out in front of me, mm-hmm. if I would have been in the room seeing him act a certain way to say Kat or to Holly, which you all have seen, obviously, in previous, in the feeds or whatnot. I wasn't a part of those. I would hear, it's like all hearsay. So I would see Kat cry at what was being said to her. I wasn't there when they were said, so I couldn't sit there and be like, hold the fuck up. Don't talk to her that way. I purposely took myself out of those situations to be I know this sounds so horrible, but because it was a game. And because that's what I'm used to seeing, you know, season 10, where they're just like bickering at each other and just like literally, you know, nails out. It's kind of like, I'm like, y'all kill each other. I like, y'all do what you're going to do, you know, evict each other, do whatever. I'm going to sit over here on the side and I'm just going to watch this shit, you know, this shit happen. But had I wished that I could have seen some of it. Now looking back at it, I really wish I was a part of at least one of those conversations to kind of, because that would have been a completely different Jessica.
I want to see that Jessica so bad, Jess.
I know, my sister was so upset. Like when I came out, my sister, my brothers were like, who the hell was that in the house? And yada, yada, yada. Because they knew that's not me. You know, it was.
Your sister and brother did a great job of keeping us informed here on my channel. They joined in the chats. They DM me. I love them. Your brother made my logo. He was like an insanely talented artist. All your you know, siblings just seem wonderful. Your whole family. But they were telling us in the chat, like, you're not really seeing the full Jess. And I just think there were so many obstacles in your way, like these real life things that a lot of people face when they go into the house. You know, when you are, you know, with these kind of, you know, hateful dudes who are, I mean, there was more to it why we weren't seeing the real you, but it was great to hear from your family to be like, you know, no, there's like so much more. And we saw that once you became HOH, Jess, that week for us, like, I know I played it in the beginning because I always have to remind people, because I think people forget that you were the only one to take a shot at these guys. All these other players, you want to say, Chrissy's great. I mean, very few people say that, but some people say it. The Facebook groups mostly, because they don't know a lot. But, you know, but they didn't. They played into the hands of these guys, and you stood in your power. You won your HOH, you won your POV, and you were like, I'm putting them up, and one of them is going home, and that's the way it goes. And it changed the whole dynamic. That week was such a powerful week for viewers because we had put up with so much of watching, you know, the sick shitters and the ungrateful alliance, that we finally got to see, like, the, you know, underdogs up there, and you're up there with Nicole, and you're up there with Cliff, and you're up there with Kat, and there was so much hope. And I know that didn't last, but for that week, Jess, you gave us that. So never let anyone say shit to you about this. You made your mark in this game.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, you know what? I'll tell you all a little story, and I completely agree with it. I had a conversation with Ika Wong, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows Ika.
We pray to her. Yeah, we know.
Right? Hail Queen Ika. I had a really great conversation with her. And she was one of those that also, after she met me, was like, oh my God, I love you. And I really didn't think you were going to be this person. She's like, I told people that you were boring. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And then she's like, and then she said, look, you were someone, when I interviewed you, you said you were going in and had something to prove because you were a plus size woman and you were a Latina. And so typically individuals who have something to prove are not good TV, which is true. And I'll own up to it right now. I was so blinded by being the only plus size woman there, to be the only like positively plus, wanted to be this role model for women, to see a size like me on the show. I wanted to not get the lazy brown girl edit. I didn't want to get the sassy Latina edit. Like, there were things that I was doing that were just very, very safe. Trying to be bipartisan, trying to fly under the radar, trying to have everybody think that I didn't know shit, which is why I kept on saying, I know nothing. And a lot of, I feel bad because people actually believed that I didn't know anything. And yes, I was purposely not told things. You know, Jack would purposely do things, which is why he had to go home, making decisions without even letting me know and saying it was for the house, things of that nature. There were things that happened. That happens to everybody. But for the most part, I had a very great grasp on what was happening. I wasn't going to tell people what I knew. At that point, Cliff was already like being targeted, the third week because they heard him open up his mouth. I already had Bella put me under, throw me under the bus because of this alliance. There were so many things that had bit me in my ass that I was like, I know nothing. There's nothing. I don't know anything. You think you know that? No, that's not happening. I don't know anything. Like that was literally my game. And I get upset at times because I did mention that in my diary rooms. There were a lot of things that I said in diary room sessions, and I've watched the show back. And as much as I love CBS, like it was the 6-shooter show. And even during my HOH, it was about, oh my God, now what happens to the 6-shooters? You know what I mean? And it was just like, wait, no, it's about me. It's about me. Why the hell aren't you watching like me in my, like, who wants to see my HOH room? Like, why the hell did you know, like, nobody even knew I was married. Nobody knew I had a child. Nobody knew that I won my HOH on my daughter's birthday.
On your daughter's birthday, Jess.
On my daughter's birthday. And that's what I screamed. That's what I screamed. Everybody was like, oh my God, on my daughter's birthday. Oh. Everybody's like, you have a daughter? You're married?
Gosh.
I'm like, whoa. And like, that's not my Is that my fault?
No, there's a lot that gets lost, obviously, on the edit, in the edit and stuff. And that's why people who just watch the episodes, with Big Brother, you can't just watch the episodes and think you have a grasp. That is why people out there truly believe Jackson is a great player, because they did not watch the feeds. They did not see what we saw, which were the many allowances made for this man. And all of a sudden, just wasn't it strange? And maybe you can't comment on this, but Slop just disappeared. There was no conversation. Did they talk to you guys about it? Like, it just left?
Nobody knew a damn thing, to be quite honest. And it's not something, nobody told me not to say anything. So I'm like, first of all, no, we didn't know that was happening. Some people are still saying that it didn't happen. I don't know what he was doing in the bathroom. I don't know what he grabbed.
He was eating. He put it in the trash, picked it up. Like, we saw it, Jess. Don't worry. You don't have to say it. We saw it. And we were like, this dude.
If that's what you saw. We did find it funny. I did find it interesting that after my week of being on Slop, because I was on Slop right before I won HOH. I was on for that whole week. It was me, Nicole, and Sam. That was the second week of Slop. That right after that, nothing else happened. And which was funny was because Mickey actually looked at me and he said, I'm going to volunteer myself for Slop because I don't want Holly. I don't want Holly on Slop. That's ultimately we had talked about it and we're like, well, whoever wasn't on Slop is going to go on Slop this week. If I have to choose, whoever's not on Slop. And I talked to Cliff, and Cliff said, throw me in, put Mickey in there, Jack, I will keep an eye on them. I will make sure, you know what I mean? Kind of like,
yeah. No, I think that's what the viewers were very upset about, because we're like, this dude volunteered and he's still complaining and cheating, and allegedly his mom called. And there was just a lot of problems we saw on the feeds with, I was like, did they not vet some of these people? Because he came in with, issues with, allegedly medications and things like that. So we were all very worried about you, Jess. We were worried with some of these people that were in the house. And speaking of what was the deal with Sam? It seemed like he just had it out for you. And I never understood what Mr. Loud DR Talker was mad about.
Look, and it's so funny. I don't know if you all know Matt Hoffman. Y'all know Matt Hoffman from season 12, who was part of the brigade.
Yep.
So I went in the house thinking that Sam was related to him. I thought this dude's like, he gives me weird Matt Hoffman vibes. I'm thinking, okay, no, but he said he's from Philly. He looks like Jeff. He could be like Jeff's brother or whatever. I honestly thought he was someone's brother. And I actually really enjoyed him in the sense that like he had these great stories, ridiculous stories, but great stories, you know? And then when I found out that he was like targeting me the whole time, I was so confused. And I don't know if you all saw or if this was on the feeds, because I know it wasn't on the show, but the time where I kind of called him out on it. You know, and he said it was because I talked about his mole on his leg.
Oh my God, so sensitive.
And then he said that it was because I said that he looks like he plays with his children's toys, which I don't believe I said it that way, but I said that he looked like so adorable that I could imagine him playing with his children and their toys. Like I could imagine him playing, like, because he had like this very just young, energetic, like funny guy, you know? And let's chalk it up to just like implicit bias. Like he's not used to seeing a strong Latina woman say weird things like, you're so adorable, I could see you playing with your children, or being concerned about a mole on his leg, or I don't know what else he was upset about.
It was very strange. It was very strange.
It was, I thought we had connected on just, you know, the fact that we were both family, like that we had families. I don't, like, we're still very, you know, we're cordial. Like if we needed to, you know, text each other, we will, but like, obviously he's not, you know, a super good friend of mine, nor would I like consider him one. I was just taken aback. It was, I don't know.
No, I think
I don't know how to explain it.
I think you explained it very well. As viewers, we just saw it like, wow, why is Sam taking offense to these things Jess is saying, which is more just like exactly what you said. We took it that same way. The dude acted like a goof. If you watch his DRs and everything, he was like, like that's how he was 24/7. So yes, you look like the type that sits down and actually has fun playing with the toys. My mom is a very similar way. She loves playing with her grandkids. She loves the Barbie. She gets into it because she's goofy and fun. So for him to take that as a negative says more about him and what he's projected onto you than anything you did. And then you being concerned that a mole, hello, when melanoma and skin cancer is the #1 cancer, maybe you're just being a nice person looking out for him.
Yeah, I did. I honestly, I never in a million years did I think that he was going to use that as an excuse. It like he was the one who started the term bottom feeders. And to be quite honest, I never saw myself in in the bottom like that, because in order to be the bottom in the bottom feeder, I would have been the 9th person in ungrateful. So technically, like, I mean, right, a bottom feeder, you have to be in the same tank. I was in a completely separate tank than all of them. Like, there was just no way to compare that. You know, you can't. So that was my thing. A lot of people think that I was like trying to be in.
Oh, we did lose Jess again, but we'll get her back. It's right as we're getting to the good stuff, you guys. Annie's saying, Sam, bottom feeders, did not like that phrase at all. Neither did I, Sam, or neither did I, Annie. I did not like that at all. We got Jess back. Right as we're getting to the good stuff, Sam's people, he's got some kind of people. They just clicked us off and we're back.
I know. They were like, nope, Jessica's being too real right now.
Yes.
She's getting heated and she's heating up the computer right now. She's a little too passionate about this subject.
No such thing, yes. No such thing.
No, I mean, yeah. So I don't know where it cut off if you were able to hear what I said, but
the bottom feeders thing, I think a lot of people in the chat are saying this too. And I haven't been pulling up a ton of quotes from the chat because it's just going really fast. We got a lot of people join us and I love you guys and I appreciate it, but we can watch it later too and see it. But like Annie says, the bottom feeders did not like that phrase at all. I think a lot of people took offense to that because again, you explained it perfectly. I'm not even in your aquarium, dude. And I'm not trying to be, but Sam was always that hanger on. And then they had to make undeniable just because he was standing there. But they did mention grateful in front of him. And then he went in the DR. I was like, I'm so grateful, and you're like, calm down, Sam. So
it was those things where I said, like, this is where it's very obvious that, that biases exist.
Yes.
If I was in someone like Sam's position where you know that you are number 9 out of an 8 alliance, why would you be at all, why would you at all be faithful to them? Why wouldn't you go to the other side and work with them, which he didn't do. It was this, there were a handful of people that were trying to really get in to see what the dynamic looked like. But between Cliff, Nicole, and myself, and at that point, like Kemi was already gone, there weren't enough numbers for us to stick with each other. We needed to branch out and we needed to kind of figure out how to disassemble what was happening. We knew what was happening. Nicole wanted to get rid of them super early on, hence the whole, HOH incident and the bullying situation. Was literally them figuring out that Nicole was kind of playing both sides.
What was it like to be in the house when that went down? Because it was really, some people just saw the edited version. Some people saw a little bit more from the feeds, and to see Ovi go up there and stick up for her, and you guys are all downstairs and you're hearing this. Did you guys have any idea, like, what, can you just like walk us through what you were thinking during that time?
Me personally,
mm-hmm.
I was like, Nicole's getting caught up. That was my thought process. I didn't think that they were like, whatever they set up there, which obviously it was like, not so great. They were really heated, but they were also still playing the game. So a lot of them were still lying back and forth to each other, because at that point, Nick, they wanted to get rid of Nick. Nick would have been backdoored. Like, these are things that I don't know if you all like knew this. But Nick and Bella were kind of on the outs. They were mm-hmm. People were starting to kind of see those lies. And I noticed it when I was on the block with Kemi, which is why Kemi said what she said at the end of her, why Kemi called them out mm-hmm. was because they were playing both sides. The 6 shooters did know that they were playing both sides. They knew Bella was kind of, a mess there. I had to go have multiple conversations. I had one. I've had it with, with Annalise, because Bella had said that I was out to get Annalise and Jack, and it was just like all of this. It was a mess. These were all things that were happening in the background. So, when this happened with Nicole's situation, I knew that Nicole was playing both sides, and I knew that Nicole had told Nick certain things, and that she had told Christy certain things, and that team, so that she was trying to figure out where she was going to who was going to take her in, and these were conversations that I had with Nicole. So I knew that at that point upstairs, something was happening, and they figured it out because it was about Nicole. The whole Ovi situation, it was amazing that he did it. Like, you know, I give him all the props, but he was also out of the game. So you have to understand, just like when I was HOH and I knew nobody could touch me,
Yes.
like you have this certain sense of air of like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I don't care because I have nothing to lose right now. You can't kick me out. I can say whatever the hell I want, and next week you'll forget about it. You know, and that's just the thought process that you have. I was on the block. So I was trying to just like stay out of whatever didn't involve me. It was like, okay, I know what's happening here, but at the same time, like whatever's happening is benefiting me. Because I know I'm eventually, like slowly but surely, I saw the eyes off me and they were going somewhere else. Unfortunate that it was Nicole, right? Because I wouldn't have wanted it to be Nicole if I had a choice of who it was going to be pinned on. But again, when you're in those situations and you're like working with such small numbers, like you're my friend, and at the same time, the system is meant for us to be pegged against each other.
Yes. Definitely. Now, you've seen the whole season, right? You've seen your whole season. You just said you didn't watch the live feeds.
Correct.
So when you watched that situation up in the room, and were you surprised at how many times Annalise was always like, I'm going to go off, I'm going to go off, and then she never went off?
No, actually, it doesn't surprise me.
Why did you think
Sis is a little firecracker. A lot of people don't know this, and nobody would know it either because I mean, I'll just say it out loud. Like, she's Latina, guys. She's not Italian. She's not like I don't know why all these people think that she's not Hispanic. Maybe because she goes to Stagecoach again. Super biased. Like, you guys be ashamed of yourself. Latino people go to Stagecoach, okay? Get over it. We like country music. Mexicans listen to it all the time. My parents were born in the country. Like, it happens.
It's so true because my in-laws love country music. They're from Mexico. Like, both of my mother-in-law and father-in-law immigrated here from Mexico, and they drive a big truck. What my mother-in-law does, and she's tiny, and she likes Tejano music. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah.
Love
my father's Puerto Rican. My father's Puerto Rican. He wears cowboy hats and cowboy boots and those big buckles with eagles on them. Like, I don't know why. But that's his style. That's what he likes, and he likes to listen to like Tejano music. And it's I mean, these are just it's just what you prefer, what you like. But it was very interesting that a lot of people, and still to this day, look at Sis and don't think that she's at all Latina. Which is, and she got like a very quiet, and for the most part, like she got a very quiet, she's not there edit because she didn't, she wasn't really the type to pop off. Like, she would say it every once in a while.
Well, she would like threaten people physically so much on the feeds. And it's okay. Sis's people, you guys must have heard we were talking about this, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, Sis would threaten people, and we're thinking, what's little Sis gonna do? And when did she become so tough? So we got Jess back, and like I said, it was probably just Sis, she heard us talking about her. And like Miss History is saying, Hispanic folks love country music. Tejano music is the shit. It really is the shit.
Really?
My mother-in-law, sorry, we got you back. Yay. No, we were just talking about Tejano music and stuff. And I was saying that we've been to South Texas where my mother-in-law lives, and my husband's sister, my sister-in-law, all her kids, and they have Charo days, and it's so fun, and everyone's wearing cowboy hats at Tejano music, and there's parades, and it's like the best time. So people in the chat were saying, I don't know why people don't think that Latinos or Hispanic people like country music or Tejano and stuff like that. So
yeah, I used to travel. I mean, I do travel a lot, but I used to go to San Antonio a lot, San Antonio and Houston. And I would go to a lot of those Tejano rodeos. And I mean, it's it's fun, like it's so funny. You see the guys with their cowboy hats and their pointy toe boots, and then girls are literally wearing like really short skirts and like high stiletto heels, and I'm just like, wait, this is interesting. It's a whole culture. I love it. It's just different. It's different, but I digress.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love talking about this. But with Annalise, with Sis, I think she was another one like Bella, and it could be age. It could be that whole kind of women are conditioned, especially young. We're conditioned to be very competitive with one another and almost like to hate on one another rather than come together. And then once you're older, I mean, I'm 40 years old. And so obviously I'm like, let's get the girls together. But I think in your early 20s, there's a lot of times that, you do kind of err on the side of going with what the guys say, and it's a lot to do with our conditioning. But you being in this house, like I liked you from day one because I was like, she's a feminist. Like I love that. I love that body positivity, like all the things we need. We need one of our biggest gripes that we have with Big Brother is the lack of diversity and representation, because we want to see what we see out in the world. We want to see our friends. We want to see our neighbors. We don't want to see a bunch of, dudes from Nashville. You know what I mean? Like we want to see diversity. We want inclusion. Like there's the people, you see the Karen videos, there's people fighting against it, but the average healthy minded American wants to see diversity and inclusion in Big Brother. And unfortunately, we're not at that place where it's equal representation. And I wonder if it'll ever get there. It's difficult to say with the CBS audience,
Well, here's the thing. What's interesting, and that it makes a good point, and someone had mentioned it to me, is that Big Brother really took a turn after Frankie Grande got on the show. Mm-hmm. And it really brought a completely different audience into the Big Brother world. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of when it became more of like that pop culture, it kind of became more of this pop culture type of show. And it's interesting because people that follow me, a lot of people that follow me aren't any older than 15 or 16, which I never really understood. And it was just like, wow, there's some like really hardcore, 15, 16-year-old stans, like stand hard. And I just never understood like how, they would be this, I don't know, this passionate about it. But once someone had mentioned, Frankie, the fact that Frankie Grande came on, and then it just kind of like had a completely different demographic tune in, mm-hmm. is when you start to really see kind of the difference in who they pick, who they pick and they choose. But I think ultimately, I would love for them to be, to be a little bit more inclusive or well-rounded in the age, in the age and the diversity of it all. I'm big on, diversity in all aspects, whether it be, gender, race, ethnicity, size, diversity, all of those things. Because I think that the more diverse you are, the less of a chance you would see a better alliances, kind of maybe more strategic alliances, maybe less common commonalities between the people that are in the alliances, and you would see that they're not picking each other just because someone wants to get in their pants.
Right. Like, let's stop casting this for, I know they do cast for showmances. They do like to have a showmance, but there's so many people. And it was like the Nicks and the Bellas were definitely playing, the Hollies even, I would say at times, Jerkson, were more concerned about who they were going to hook up with. Now, I know you didn't see the live feeds, Jess, but there was a very disturbing and funny sex scene on the live feeds. And I don't know if you've been privy to it, But Annalise and Christy were in one bed, Jackson and Holly were in another, and there was some pumping from behind going on. And he was having a conversation with Christy and Annalise about the heat while he, just pumped away, and Holly Beth took a sip of water. Did anyone send you that video? Or it's a nightmare.
Yeah, someone did. Actually, someone did send me that.
And is it a nightmare of yours now too? You don't have to comment. Like, I'm putting
a lot of the things that I saw outside of the house, when it came to feeds and like some clips that people sent me, it was just like, why? I just didn't understand why people thought that automatically I'm naked, so the live feeds are gonna cut off, or
they had no idea how it worked, Jess. I mean, they literally were like, they're not going to show this on the live feeds. Now, did you have the uncertainty, I can't remember, of actually sitting on that shower stool?
I didn't. I actually, it was in the shower during my HOH. And I was like, why is this in here?
Oh.
And they were like, that's the stool. And I was like, oh, get the hell out of here. And I moved it to the side, and I took it out of the shower. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
I think I remember seeing you take it out of the shower. I think you did, didn't you? And you were like, ugh.
Yeah, because I had heard stories, obviously. I mean, you all saw a lot different. I mean, you guys saw a lot. Mm-hmm. But I experienced way worse.
Anything you could share?
Huh?
Anything you could share that we don't know?
God. It was just like those things that you talk about when the feeds aren't on. And there were times where the feeds were on and we knew that the feeds weren't on. So not game related at all, because you can't really talk. You could talk game, but you can't really talk game because they'll turn off the rule is there's music on, and if as soon as you start talking game.
Oh, CBS hit us, you guys. They're like, we're getting good again, and there you go. It's just nonstop good, and CBS cannot handle it, you guys. But we're gonna get Jess back, and she's back, and
wow, they did that. They totally did that.
I think they did. I'm part of the Tinfoil Hat Society now, that they are conspiring against us, Jess. So there, you said when the feeds go down, or when, because they'll go to fishes or whatever, and sometimes they'll let you know when the feeds are down. And there were things you were saying that maybe were people admitted that they might have done.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's yeah, like the acts that happened, between couples, none of that was a surprise. None of that was a shocker to us. Everybody, when we would talk to each other, we were very, very open about our sex lives, and just we're not. I don't know. I have a bad habit of saying we. Okay, so I want people to know, because you probably will think that I'm included in this, but I have a bad habit of saying we to not purposely point somebody out. Okay. So I feel like we need to do better as a society. I feel that we, so that I include myself, yes. so that I'm not pointing someone out to you.
So diplomatic of you, Jess. I like your style.
I know, very, very, very diplomatic here. Mm-hmm. So we, the couples, were very open and honest about their sexual escapades and the things that they would do. So a lot of that stuff was talked about off feeds, and a lot of that stuff was it was like we got close with each other very, very fast, which is why people are like, how is this relationship working? Why are these people so close to each other? Mm-hmm. Like, you start to say things to each other that you were like, oh my God, I haven't told anybody this since I was in high school. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. You just start saying things.
Probably because you have
the crabs never. Yeah, the crabs never happened. Crabs was not a thing.
It was the hot tub, right?
It was not the hot tub. The hot tub didn't work. it was a janky mess, that hot tub. The reason we kept on throwing it in there was just because the hot tub sucked. It was really bad, and it wasn't hot, so it was actually really disgusting. So the idea that for us, the hot tub was kind of a disgusting place to be, along with Kat just thinking it was really cool to say, hey, remember those crabs? Like, especially, if you believe crabs, then you also believe that Cliff is her father.
Yeah.
And, it's like all these things. Like, I laugh about them because I'm like, Kat, you said, A, B, and C. And she's like, who's gonna believe that Cliff is my dad? And who's gonna believe that Holly and I really know each other? Or who's gonna believe that, although her and Holly did know each other, but in a very basic sense, not in a Tami and Christy know each other.
Was there any inclination? Did you have any inclination that Tami and Christy knew each other, that Kat and Holly, or there was also talk that that Bella and Kemi knew each other from school or something, and possibly Ovi and Jackson.
Yeah, and I could understand at that point, because I thought in the beginning, I was like, well, then Ovi and Jackson know each other because they literally went to school with each other like the same year.
Yeah.
They were like in school with each other and just didn't know each other. Holly and Kat was always very open about how she knew Holly from just like Instagram and, just knows of her. You know what I mean? But the whole know each other, like they weren't hanging out with each other. They weren't like friends before this. They weren't anything. They just knew of, like they knew each other. Like they had taken pictures with each other. They were very familiar with each other's like,
within like the pageant community, right?
Within the pageant community, which would still give you a leg up. In my opinion, it gives you definitely a way to connect.
I feel like Kat could have been a lot better of an ally to you had Holly not been in the way and their prior relationship didn't exist, because I don't know how much you knew in there, how much Kat was going back and playing with Jackson and Holly and giving them a lot of information.
Yeah, I honestly, and I still haven't seen like how much of that was like my own personal information, because Kat would tell me that she's like, I told them, like she would come up to me and she'd be like, I told them that you're not gunning for them, that you're not doing, like she would be very, at least in my eyes, I thought she was being very honest and saying like, I was asked if you were, coming after somebody and I would say no. And there were certain things that I felt like I knew. Look, I knew, like, as much as I love Kat, I knew there was very limited information, even with her. Like, I knew that there was very limited information that I could tell her. Like, which is why I didn't tell her. I was good friends with Kat day one of being in that house. And a lot of people were thinking why, like, that was just such a weird relationship and that we just all of a sudden became, like, really, really great best of friends. But
we'll get her back, you guys. What are you guys thinking in the chat here? So Kat and Holly had something in their nether areas of rash. So you guys want to know me to ask about the rash. Here comes Jess. We'll get her back. All right. We're doing it, Jess.
Sorry about this. I know this is probably insanely annoying.
Listen, you're a delight and you are so entertaining and I am so happy to get to talk to you, so I don't care.
You're gonna have to go back to this YouTube and just start editing the shit out of it. That's what you're gonna have to do.
This is the fun part. It's so fun. It's so fun. So you knew that you couldn't fully, like, you really loved, I could see why you and Kat were friends. You guys had so much fun laying in bed, goofing around, being silly. It was like a vacation from the house. It seemed like your friendship was.
Absolutely. Like she was definitely the sunshine in my, of my big brother days. She was like the best kind of mess you could ever hope for in a friend. You know what I mean? It's in the best possible way. Like she had all of these insane like ways of looking at life and how to turn really shitty situations into something laughable. So it really is like a breath of fresh air you know, to just kind of, even if it's to laugh at her or laugh with her, if that makes sense, because she would make things very lighthearted. So obviously that was always great, but I knew that she had really hard time keeping things to herself. So while you know, like in the game, there are people that you know would never throw you. Like if they became HOH, you knew you would never be their target. I would never have to fear, you know, if Nicole was ever to win, if Kat was ever to win, if actually I was pretty much good with for the most part, with all the girls. Like I never felt like I was gonna be thrown in with them or with Cliff. And then all the other guys, like it was a little bit of a shit show there. Tommy either, like I felt like I was in really good place with Tommy, but he was still kind of like, my eye was on him because I knew nobody was targeting him, and he was playing the cat game. He was playing the whole gambit, and I knew that, you know, but I would have preferred him to win over, you know, someone like Jackson.
Yes, definitely.
So there were obviously different ways, but yeah, with Kat, the idea was like, we had a final two. We had looked at each other way early on, and we had defined it as our final two, but I never felt like I needed to babysit her. I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt and say that, like, well, however she was played, she was going to get me the information that needed to be given to me. The only problem is that her information and Nicole's information wouldn't match up. And so it was really hard to kind of determine like what's actually going on here. You know, it's almost to have like a little bit too much information, and you're like seeing it from all sorts of ways. And I mean, and that's just how the game works, right? That's basically how you play it. I mean, for crying out loud, the girl outed our alliance right before, you know, leaving the house. And I'm just like, what the hell? You know, now you just put a damn target on my, you know, on my back. Or I think it was too, but you know, like I knew if she was to win the veto, especially when she took me off during Caitlyn veto, I knew she was going to use it on me. There was no, like, it was that unconditional, like, there was no ands, if, or buts. Like, I knew that she had my back. She was like my ride or die.
I like that.
If she said anything, it was literally because she didn't know how to play the game. Like, honestly, because she didn't.
She was a recruit too, which is like another, you know, big brother.
Well, don't get me wrong, I was a recruit too. So but like not all recruits, not all recruits are like you know, completely clueless. Like, and she wasn't. I feel like she did her
she did.
You know, she did a good, you know, she did a good thing, but it would be more like she didn't know. If I told her something, she would go out and tell people, is that what you said? Is that what you think? Because I don't want, and not know the repercussions.
Yes. Kind of like the culture of Big Brother is like, that happens. There's going to be a lot of hearsay, but if you have that person you trust, you have to trust that you can't keep going back and forth. Like, did you say that? Like, no, people are going to in your head. Now, I do have to ask you about the Christy friendship, because a lot of us were like, no, Jess, don't go to the dark side. Christy is oh gosh, she's the evil part. What? And I apologize if she is your friend to this day, and I'm not asking you to talk shit about her, but what was it like looking back and stuff? Like, what was it about Christy that it seemed like you guys, you know, midway through started bonding more and more, and she was turning to you? And I know even your family would join the chats, and we'd be like, oh, Jess, we gotta get her away from Christy.
Everybody was, it was that unlikely friendship. Look, Christy and I had an understanding since the very first day when we came in. We came in the same herd. Is that a thing? We came in the same herd. We were standing next to each other when we were going into the house. And I remember she was crying even before the show, even before we got on stage, she was crying. And I'm like looking to the side and I'm just like, oh my God. But I was so nervous. Like I wanted to cry. I even teared up too as Julie was talking, because it was just like such a surreal moment. I'm like, this is happening to me. Oh my God, my life is going to change forever. And this is the Julie Chen, you know, and you're just like, there's so many emotions, right? And so she cried. I kind of teared up. We went into the house. We started talking, realized she was a Libra. I'm a Libra. There were so many things in common. She, you know, obviously we all know she's all very love and peace and, you know, very spiritual, very about her. It was just this sense about her. And like she's also a very strong woman, to be quite honest, as much as she was crying, you know, she was crying on the show.
Oh no, we definitely could see the strong woman part. We just lost it when she started going with the guys and kind of throwing other women under the bus and just
and
like,
that completely got me off guard, because at first it was like she was the one who, I don't know if you all saw or if they showed this on the live feeds, but we had a whole hashtag like womance. Everybody was just like, all the women loved each other. Like really, they really did. Everybody got along with each other for the most part.
Even Holly?
For the first 2 weeks. Even Holly. Everybody was like, hashtag romance. We love this. Ton of strong women. We were kind of like high on our own thing. You know what I mean? Christy, I never had the feeling that she would ever put me up. Like we talked about it once one-on-one. She, at that point in time, didn't really trust Jack. She was too scared to backdoor him, which at that point, she would have been a fucking boss had she done something like that. You know, and like right now, they're not even like that good. They're not even friends. But anywho,
that's not a shock. That's not a shocker to me.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're not even like that great friends, you know, but like when I mean, like they're not talking to each other every day, like you would have thought they would be having that relationship in the house, you know?
He has his dog and that's about all he can handle, I think, but that's just how
I mean, you realize things about people, guys, this, like he needed to leave the day of his HOH when all of his pictures were his dog and you didn't see anybody else. It was just like, who is this dude? Like, I can't get down with you. Like, you have no soul. Like, I don't know who you are. Like, where's a picture of your dad, your mom, your brothers, your wife, your ex, I don't know, someone who's not your dog.
Or your coworker writing you letters.
Like, and no offense. Like, I don't want anybody to take offense if you love your dog that much. Like, I understand fur babies are fur babies. Like,
but humans, you got to have human interaction. You have to have a human relationship. And it was very
game. Yeah, in a game setting, when everybody that I'm looking at is like a dog, I'm like, you're not going to be a person for me to align with. Like, there is no human, like, you are not humanizing yourself to absolutely anybody or anything. Like, I don't know how to deal with this. And obviously, I'm talking about week 2 of being, you know, of being in a house with this individual. So those were just like that was just like my initial thought process. But at that point in time, Chrissy had given me the assumption that she wanted to get rid of him. She didn't like how he was trying to manipulate her HOH. She didn't, you know, there were a lot of things that Chrissy and I understood, and then I also understood the game, and I understood that the things that you say in a game aren't necessarily the things you mean. Like, I could say that, sure, I'm gonna put Ket up. Absolutely, I plan on putting Ket up, and then not put Ket up because that's stupid. You know, like however, like I just never felt that. I never felt in a bad place with her. Like I wanted to believe that her and Tami were gonna get out of the 6, that were the 6, and we talked about it, and she was always very adamant about like, hey, if I could have like a perfect, you know, I know she said the right things, right? She was like, if we could have a perfect alliance, you would be in it. You know, I want it to be, you know, you and Kat and me and Tommy, maybe sis. And, you know, and she did say those things.
Yeah.
She did want Mickey out. There were things that were aligned, like we had a lot of things that we were aligned with. You know, and there was other times where I would totally see the BS, you know, in her game. But for the most part, she was about the closest to gameplay that I wanted to work with.
Yeah, because she did talk a big game. Like she did, even when she first started, when she got that first HOH, I'm like, oh my gosh, big stuff is going to happen because she's very, you know, pro-woman. She's going to, you know, break these dudes up, all these things. I think the viewers were so disappointed with Kristi because she actually turned out to be very emotionally manipulative and played almost like what we're seeing now in 2020 as Karen's getting called out, is she played that kind of like that white lady tier game. And she had a lot of microaggressions and things, especially towards Kemi, and made up like blatant lies about like Kemi even going in a room and talking to her.
Yeah. And that, those things I saw, and there's no way for really me to explain it, nor do I feel like I need to, right? Because I'm not her. But
your job.
At the same time, like I didn't realize that there were certain things that obviously, you know, Kemi was very, as amazing as she had, like, I love this girl to death. She is very soft-spoken in the house. So I think that the fact that she was very soft-spoken eventually gave everybody the idea that she was being sneaky. How much of that is Big Brother game and how much of that is implicit bias and like prejudice and just, you know, outright racist? It really depends on the person, right? It really, really depends on the person. I would hate, like, I hated when Kemi would, like, when she would whisper to me, because she was no longer in the game and I felt like I was being targeted. Never did if anybody would ever say, well, you felt that way because you're being racist, I'd be like, oh my God, like, but yeah. So I'm very careful about like saying or calling a specific person blatantly racist, you know? Can they do better? Absolutely. Were there implicit biases? Absolutely. You know, I will tell you this. I've hung out with pretty much everybody out of the house. I've seen school pictures, I've seen yearbooks, I've seen where they've grown up. I've seen so many things. And I could tell you that not one Black person is in any of their pictures, in any of their high schools, in any of their grammar schools, in any, like, I mean, these are all things that I personally have seen. And when that is happening, it's like you understand why they have these different type of biases. Is it correct? Absolutely not. Can they change? Absolutely. Like, are people gonna have the the patience to do it for them? Absolutely not. You're a grown-ass individual. Get yourself a book. Read. You know,
you could start with White Fragility if you wanted to. I just got it. I'm about to read it. Okay, tell Tucker Carlson.
There's only so much, like, yeah. If I'm gonna pick up White Fragility and read it my damn self, like, you can do it too. I'm not gonna give you clip notes on it.
It's not your job. It's not your job to have to answer for this. It's not your job to have to teach people. Like, it's on us to educate ourselves and to find out where our privilege, you know, how we actually benefit from, you know, the systemic racism within our society and things like that. Not to get too deep, Jess, or put you, you know, on the spot where you feel like you have to answer to this, because I'm sure.
No, I absolutely agree. And at the same time, I do feel like, as being, not even just being Latina, but being a white passing Latina, because even though, like, a lot of people would know that I'm Latin, I do understand that I have white privilege, and I do understand that I can be passing if I wanted to. Like, I could dye my hair blonde and pop in some blue contacts, and y'all wouldn't probably know. You guys would probably think I was like, German, or, you know, I like, there are definite, like, what I would consider privileges to this. And at the same time, because of that, I feel like I have the responsibility to be able to talk to not just my white friends, but my white passing Latin friends that also have biases, because biases exist everywhere. It's not just white people.
Yep.
You know, like Latinos have it too within their own. There's colorism. There's, you know, there's racism that happens within our own countries. You know, so yeah, that. But we kind of like went in on a completely different.
No, but you actually, I remember you mentioning that on the feeds and being able to be passing, and you actually like said, I pop in some blue color contacts and stuff. So you were very aware and cognizant of that. And it was really like those moments when you guys had those truly authentic conversations about race and culture, and, you know, were great. Big Brother definitely didn't let the camera stay on it too long, because I remember a conversation you and Kemi were having just about even like your husband's hair and her ex and stuff like that. And it was out and it was really interesting. And I wanted to like hear this stuff. And then they went over to, you know, Christy laying there or chewing with her mouth open, you know, and was that annoying that she chewed like that?
Everybody had such weird, like little things. I mean, that this is what we had to live with, right? It's like when you talk about like the pet peeves of your roommates, like roommate pet peeves. It could be, you know, it could be if someone chews too loud. It could be someone's constantly farting. Like that was rough. That was
the Jackson, and then he got really mad and like yelled at Kat because she was spraying the Febreze, and that's when we saw a very crazy side of him. The way he thought he could speak to her was something that is, you know, we don't have to get into that. We kind of already covered it, but that was interesting. Did you see the Holly Jackson relationship coming, and were you like, whoa?
That it was not, that it wasn't gonna last, or that it was like that they were already because I knew they were broken up before they announced it. But like,
are they trying to get on X on the Beach? Or are they really broken up?
If they are on X on the Beach, I would be very, very surprised. Mm-hmm. Holly's a very mature woman. Like, as much as she was dating someone who was not, you know, in a very big age difference in the big, you know, scheme of things, I feel like. But she doesn't scream to me as someone who would go on a show like that.
Well, she did.
I would think it was a little beneath her.
Yeah, because she had bad things to say about the challenge, and that she was like slut shaming girls that go on the challenge. I think that had more to do with she had a lot of wine and she was very insecure about losing Jerkson for some reason to these young women. But we were screaming a lot at the television, being like, "Holly, girl!" I was like, "Get her to the ranch, get her to mom and dad, get her home, because they need to save her from this watermelon mess." You know.
I've heard around the grapevine that, you know, it's a very interesting thing. They're not following each other. They blocked each other. It's not a good. No. I don't know. It's not an amicable breakup, right? So, as much as anybody would probably want to think. I don't know who thinks it is.
We didn't think it was. We thought, well, they probably got stuck together during quarantine, and they're like, oh, let's ride this out. I think they got a dog together. Like, I don't know. She said she'll always be that dog's mom, but this doesn't concern you. We don't have to talk about that, Jess. And I know we got to wrap up soon. I feel like I could talk to you forever. This is like literally me talking to like one of my friends. And I always
you're my friend. You are my friend, Joleen.
Okay. Well, I was hoping because I feel like I'm friends with your brother and sister, so it should naturally happen. But I'm so like grateful that I hate to use that word, but I'm very grateful that you want to come on and talk. I hope you'll want to come on again, and because I would like to, maybe I'll just give you a couple last questions if you don't mind. I know I'm taking a lot of your time. Okay, because we did have some people that sent questions, and I wanted to make sure. Some of them I've already asked. Okay, we already asked that question. That's good. So sorry, you guys. I already asked some of it. This is kind of a production question if you want to answer it. It's like, how often do you see crew members, and is there a producer in the diary room?
Nobody.
Nobody.
You don't see anybody.
And so you are just basically sitting in the DR and you can hear the voice. And you know,
it's like you're talking to God.
Wow. But do you have a name for that producer? Like, are there certain ones like, oh, I was talking to Ann or Jim or whatever?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just so that you know who it is. Because there is always, it's never, not that it's never the same person, but, you know, you do have your...
And did you have
like regulars?
Yeah. Did you have favorites where you're like, oh, I hope I get to talk to so-and-so today?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Cause that's kind of like a friend. This is all from Brett Lee Clark, and he's amazing. And he has auditioned for Big Brother. And I saw his audition tape, and they should have cast him years ago because he would bring some drama. I would like it. Okay. Let's see. Most shocking thing you found out happened in the house once you were out of the house. What's the most shocking thing that you didn't know happened, but once you were out of the house, you found out and you're like, what?
I mean, other than Christy and Tami knowing each other.
Yeah.
Because that one was the big one. That one was to be quite honest, when they told me this in the jury, in jury house, I thought they were going to say that they were married. Honestly, I thought they were going to be like, okay, we do know each other. We've been married. You know, I thought they were like completely faking it or whatnot. That was, I think, probably the one where it was like, how did I not know this? But the funny thing is like, you just assume, again, a bias on my end, thinking that all gays are just like besties with each other. And it just made sense that they would be each other's number one because she's gay, he's gay, and they're both from the East Coast. Never thought that they would have known each other, because for me, if it was an actual part of production and that was the game, I thought maybe everybody would have had a significant other. Everybody would have had a pair, you know?
Yeah. I wonder did anyone ever explain that to you, why there were certain people that knew each other? Because a lot of people speculated that this was maybe a theme that they just were like, forget about it, where it was like an abandoned theme for the season. So they threw a couple in and then didn't go through.
No, word on the street is that it was definitely not supposed to happen.
That's just there was just so many people that knew each other, you know?
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to happen. And I mean, don't quote me on this. This is just like hearsay, but the person who did it is no longer working there.
Interesting. Have you met, well, you obviously have met then.
But I don't know, because I was just, people saying things. So I'm just providing extra rumors for you guys to throw around there.
We love it, Jess. We love it. Now, Robyn cast gets all the hate for casting. So is that like, once you get to Robyn, is that like your final stage of casting, or do you see her way before, or do you see her at all?
No, we like, obviously, like, she is the person who casts. I mean, like, she has a whole team, and they're amazing individuals. Love them. I personally love, I love Robyn, and she's, believe it or not, I hate the fact that she gets so much of that, like, the criticism.
Well, because I think people don't realize too, she has to answer to the executives. It's not her she might have more diversity she's picking from, and CBS execs might say, no, we don't like it, we want these two. So there's people she has to answer to. She's not the end all be all in casting,
Exactly. I mean, obviously it's her cast, and like, she is the person to cast, but she does a really great job in picking very, very interesting individuals. And I would like to I mean, I'm pretty sure I could say this because, yeah, everybody sees it. Like, look at the amount of people who go into, the casting, go to the open calls and go into the videos and do all of that. Mm-hmm. Even during the finals is like, this is such a big process. Like, people get upset. I don't know, like if there are people, and I've heard stories. I even think I met a person while I was doing a meet and greet who said that they got pretty much all the way to finals and then got cut. And we're very devastated because being cut, like, you could literally be like one of the last 50 people and go through 3 months of casting and get cut. Like, it's very possible. There are people that I saw that I never saw in the house, and it's a slew of diverse people. Mm-hmm. They do a really, really good job in just getting these people.
Do you have group casting interviews? Because I know some of the Big Brothers, like Australia does that, where they're in a group at certain points once you get to a certain stage of casting, so you're able to answer questions in front of people who might be your fellow house guests, or do they keep you pretty separated?
No. Yeah. I think Big Brother here in the US is very, very adamant about keeping, things a secret. And I mean, obviously there's so much. I mean, it's tight. It's locked tight. I think that the fact that there are so many rumors going around about this, about BB22 is like, you really will never know.
Do you have any spoilers for us, Jess?
The only spoiler that I have is that I know that they're trying to get things up and running. That's the only thing that I could really say. Like, so and you would know this mainly because they haven't said that they aren't. By this time, if it was like an absolute no, they would have announced it before, Big Brother was supposed to air. The fact that they haven't announced that it's not happening means that it's still a go.
Right. And a lot of former house guests, Derek, Dan, they all have admitted to signing like an NDA. And I don't know how long. I know I was watching a live with Kat while she was interviewing Zach, and she said she was still under contract with CBS. So she couldn't really, he was kind of doing a little bit of BB exposing within the DRs and things and how they, play with people within the game. And Kat's like, I don't think they do that because they would have kept me. If they were doing that, they love me, in a true Kat fashion. She was just like, talking about that. But a lot of them have admitted they signed NDAs and that there is talk that they have reached out to former house guests, which we're all assuming is going to be some kind of all-star season, because during this time it would be easier to bring in people they know than brand new people.
Here's the thing. I think that yes, a lot of people have been contacted. They wouldn't be doing their due diligence if they didn't contact everybody or try to figure it out. Have I heard from very credible sources that there are a few people in line to be who are ready to go at a moment's notice? Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. But at the same time, there are also people, like, you can have 50 people on a moment's notice and only contact 12 of them. You know what I mean? So there is still no, like, for someone to say they are for sure going to do this, they are for sure going to do that. It's not a for sure thing at all. I think that they're coming up with a ton of options. I think that they're trying to cross their T's and dot their I's and see who's willing and under what circumstances are they willing to come back to the house. Mm-hmm. You're looking at people. I don't think it's going to be a traditional 90 plus days. you know? So, and I honestly don't think that Dan should be counted out. And I saw that,
Right?
that he shout, I saw the video where he kind of shouted you out with all of the tear and stuff too. I got all excited.
Thank you for noticing, Jess.
I liked it. I liked it. It was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, Joleen must be like so honored right now.
I was geeked out. I'm sweating about it right now. Like I was like, damn, thank you, sir.
But yeah. So like the thing is that a lot of us are players where we love the game. Not all of us, but a good amount of us. We love the game. We love to speculate just like anybody else. You never leave the game. You really never leave the game. And I'm just learning that, even being out of the house, not even a year. Yeah. You know, I realized that even talking to some of these Big Brother players, you don't ever leave the game. It's a little weird. So when you do have those really good relationships, you tend to get very personal, because it tends to get a lot more personal, because like if you are in a house, if you are in a house with that person and you never knew, and you really divulge like all of your information, that's like cause for a breakup in a relationship. Kind of like the whole like Sandra and Boston Rob situation, and how upset she was. I felt that. I could feel that. I understood. Yeah. Like when you're like, game is game, and you can play like a certain amount of game, and you know, kind of be cordial with people. Yeah. Just to be on their good side, just in case you decide to ever go back. Mm-hmm. But those really strong relationships that you build outside, where you're talking to each other and you're sharing like birthday parties and presents and like life and all that stuff, that would be a completely different story. But I wouldn't count any of them out. I really wouldn't. I think that when Dan says that he's not gonna do he can't do 90 days of whatever, mm-hmm. doesn't mean he can't do 30.
Exactly. They could do an expedited, they could do a BBOT, OTT type thing. There's a lot of things they could do. And him and Derek did mention maybe like Survivor style, 39 days. You know,
absolutely, it could totally be a Survivor style. Mm-hmm. I think that if you get someone like Dan's not going to want to do something without, another name to that, another all-star. If it's going to be all-star, I think people are going to want to watch all-stars, Yeah. Thank you for anybody who thinks that I could be an all-star. That's not the case. I'm not in it with, with a Janelle or a
Josh is considered an all-star. You're an all-star. Like, it's okay,
I could see a returning player season. Yeah, everybody's saying all-stars, but I could see a returning player season. I can see a fans versus favorites. I really could see them. I really could see them bring in, 8 complete strangers to be with another 8, returning players.
I want to see you and Kemi in the house together. I want to put it out to CBS. You guys, we got to start some kind of change.org or something, or petition, because just knowing now that we know that you guys are friends and you keep in contact, I want to see you two play together. Now I know I'm kind of outing your game, so it's going to be like Survivor. They're going to be like, they're the poker.
Yeah, they would put us up. Look, I was already on the block with her before, and it didn't turn out well. So, I mean, it turned out well for me. It didn't turn out that great for her. So, I hated being on the block with her. Yeah. So, I really couldn't imagine. If I was to go into a house, I would need to play with people that I really don't know. I couldn't imagine being heartbroken, having someone like Kat or Kemi, come into the house with me and completely backstab me.
That would be really hard, because now you've developed real life friendships.
Yeah, it would be a little hard. That's why I'm saying it becomes harder when you're friends with people. You know, I couldn't imagine, I mean, I'd be outing my game right now if I told you all the people that I talk to, like that aren't even on this season, you know, that have been from prior seasons.
Who are some of your favorite players from prior seasons?
Like Dan is my utmost, like one of my utmost favorites. Like he is like the man. I've been saying it even when you know, when I feel like that's a safe bet, right? To say Dan, but I really do.
He's one of mine.
I really do love him. I loved his game. I really loved James too, and how he played the game, which is so funny because I'm here being like the feminist, the strong feminist woman that I am, and I'm here like saying Dan and, you know, and James and all these guys.
That's okay. I mean, we're showing a lot of guys in power, and that's something that Danielle Reyes has kind of been saying for years with Big Brother, even when she was brought back, not just for All Stars, but for interviews. Danielle from BB3, she's like, I don't know if which we kind of hit on earlier, if this game and this, you know, Big Brother community would have the same reception to a woman playing like these guys have been playing, like a very aggressive player.
Absolutely. And I love Danielle too. Danielle is she's amazing, especially in
there, I gotcha.
Especially during All Stars, during her All Star season. I was so upset. You know, I was so upset that she didn't, you know, that she wasn't kept. I
know.
But especially, and that made me personally like dislike Erica.
Yeah, I know.
A ton, you know. But that's just like, I don't know. There's just those things where it's like, oh my God, but you're totally getting played by.
Yes, it's another showman's like messing stuff up. And now we know Mike Boogie is certifiable. So it's like, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, you know, but for me, Dan, it's Dan. And like for anybody to believe that Dan wouldn't come back, I know it would be crazy. I don't believe that. I really did like Derek's game. But he was very behind the scenes and obviously not very great TV.
No, he wasn't.
You know, but he played, you know.
Played well.
He played insanely well, you know, for never being targeted. And
were you a Vanessa fan? For our loving poker player crying Vanessa? She was like, I could tolerate her crying more than Christie's because she was a boss in her game.
I very much liked Vanessa's gameplay. I know that she did cry a lot, although I didn't see the live feeds and they didn't really edit her to cry like a ton on TV. Not as much as Christy.
Christy was just, it didn't make sense. And I mean, I don't know, Jess, you know, I'm assuming, you know, we're both, you know, get our periods. And she just wanted to blame everything on the period, whether it's like, oh, did I say something racist? It's my period, you know, and you're like, I've had a period for a long time. And it's never made me a bigot. But anyways, I don't want to keep you all night, Jess. You have been such a sport. You are wonderful. And I'm so happy that I connected with your family and now get to connect with you. Would you come back on the channel and we don't have to talk about any of your former house guests? We can just talk game or when BB22 starts or speculation.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I love having conversations like this, especially answering, you know, anything that any fans have. I feel like I don't do it enough. I really do love the game. I love to talk game. I actually have a group of really, really great friends from that are also fans. I actually became good friends with them because they were super fans. That's awesome. They happened to be in the area. And we just talk. We talk Survivor. We talk. I mean, I don't think a lot of people know that I'm a pretty big gamer.
Yeah, because you made a lot of Survivor references, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Jess, you gotta come back because we could just talk about the competition shows and stuff.
I don't know if people knew this, but like I named, even though I personally did not start the alliance. I want to be clear that I did not start the All Women's Alliance. I really didn't. As much as I would like to take full responsibility for it, it was not my idea. Bella was actually the person who started the alliance. She's like, we need to make this happen.
But you named it, right?
Huh?
You named it though, right?
I named it. Yes, I did name it. But what a lot of people don't know is that I named it after Parvati and like Survivor, the Black Widows. Like, I adore Parvati. Like, I mean, she's one of my tops.
Have you met her?
Huh? I have not.
Well, I haven't. I feel like you're in the family. You're in the CBS family. You got to meed her. We got to make this happen.
I've had some crazy, fangirl moments. Like I've had like some talks with Dan. The idea that like I am friends and talk to people that I've seen and that I've admired on their show, on the show, is a little surreal. Is a real surreal to me. But now I can really put myself in a good position, in a better position to understand what they went through. I honestly, you can watch it and watch it till the cows come home and like watch the live feeds, but it's just so very different when you're playing the game.
I can't imagine. People always ask, we talk about it as fans. We break down people's game moves and they go, Joleen, you should do Big Brother. You'd be so good. I go, you guys, I would be awful. All the things I say I hate about the game, I would cry. The things I see in Christy, her tears, is like what I don't like about myself. You know what I mean? So like, I think I would be mad because everyone's messy. I would find it very hard to poop with people around. If there was like shower stool stuff, gross situation, I would not be able to keep my mouth shut because it's like, as you get, I mean, I'm older than you, but as you get older, you just are like, now you're just like, I'm not anymore with this,
Absolutely. There's things that you just you can't deal with. But at the same time, there's other things that I'm like, these are strangers and you don't know. Like, how the hell was I supposed to know that, that Sam wanted me out because I asked about his mole? Like, exactly. Like these are things that you have no control over why people don't like you. You don't know. You're just being yourself and you're like, well, you should have been in an alliance with this person. And it's like, hell, had they wanted to be in an alliance with me, it would have happened. You know what I mean? That's very easy to say. If this person and this person were together, then they could have won this, and then that would have happened, and in turn, it would have happened to this. Yeah. Yes, in a beautiful, serene world where, it's a choose your own adventure and all you have to do is flip to page 5 to see what door 2 got you to, and that would totally make sense. But these are people, it's why it's called, it's why it's an experiment. It's why it's, it's like, I could tell you to do something. You could tell me to do something and I would say, go fuck yourself. Yeah. And you could tell Howard to do something and she'd be like, okay, I mean, sure.
Yeah.
No, that sounds so horrible, guys.
No, it doesn't sound horrible.
Because I love Holly, but I'm saying like we have very different, it's a very different demeanor. It's like, if you're going to talk to me, if you're going to mansplain something to me, let me womansplain something to you back. Let me wait and put you on the block. And then you can tell me why you left me out of fucking conversations. Like, that's how I play. Like, you want to play that game? That's how I'm going to play with you. Not everybody's going to play that way with you. No. Someone's going to yell and cry until their lip bleeds. And then they're going to go like, ah, Yep. And then other people are going to go cry and they're going to try to self-evict inside the diary room. Like, there are different ways that people react to this and you're never going to know who it is. And I think that the most amazing thing about Big Brother is that all of these psychological tests and things that they know trigger us or the things they know we're afraid of, like, this is why it makes for good TV. It is why these alliances happen or don't happen. It is why they think some people will, like each other and not like each other. You know, they asked me what I found attractive, even though I was with, you know, I have a husband. They still asked me what my type was. Like, do I find that insanely odd? I don't know. Maybe they wanted to have a good looking guy to see whether or not I was gonna A, hook up with him, or B, fall for his, you know, good looking alpha male charm, or, you know, whatever they thought. Is it gonna happen? Who knows?
Christine from BB16, who was married, but she had a good time scratching Cody.
Sucking toes. Like, you know, maybe they thought I was going to be a toe sucker. I don't know. Like, I could have easily been. I don't know. Thank God.
Well, it's a thing.
You're knock on wood.
Oh yeah, thank God. But the thing, unfortunately, you're gonna have to deal with probably the rest of your life, as long as Big Brother's on, is people saying this is what you should have done, Jess, and what you should have done. And it's like,
absolutely,
yeah, we can say that as fans because we see the feeds, we see every conversation, we know what's going on. And I often have to remind myself, like, they don't see what you're seeing, Joleen. Of course, you know every good move. You're watching the damn show. They're in the game. So, like, if Sam only says to everybody else, Jess, you'll just think, hey, I'm cool with Sam. I didn't know that this person doesn't like me unless someone tells you that, you know?
Yeah, well, that's also true. And it's weird because I'm not like, the first live feed that I saw was this past season of BB Canada. And it was very, very hard for me to like deal with it because I was just coming off of, you know, coming off of my show. So it's just kind of like, this is really odd. This is very weird. But I was missing context, and I don't know how a live feeder doesn't miss those contexts. Like, because there's a lot of context that even with watching feeds and saying that you see all of it, that you miss, because there is a lot of downtime. There is time when we're waiting, you know, when we're in the HOH waiting for things to get built, or, you know, when there's just a lot of downtime sometimes, you know, like, where we get to know each other on another level, where the feeds aren't on. Honestly, they're not on. And you guys would know this because you're seeing a lot of puppies and fish and, you know, certain things.
You guys would mention it when the feeds would come back on, and Big Brother would shut you down right away because it might have been a conversation you had while feeds were down, and it sounded like you guys were having a really good time.
Yeah, and so the thing is like, that's the context that would make things a lot more understandable. Have you seen that and then understood why some people made their moves based on, you know, a conversation, maybe based on something that had nothing to do with game, but still has stuff to do with game because it's a human interaction. It's like, oh no, this bitch said something in the HOH while the feeds were off, and I couldn't stand her. And that's one of the reasons why she's going up on the block. But you would never know that. You would never know that. You would have never seen that moment. And more than likely, because with me, I didn't talk to anybody about who I liked and who I didn't and what I liked, other than, you know, if someone was talking to me about Christy, and I would be like, no, I really think that we can work with her. Or, you know, there are certain things that I did say, but for the most part, I was never that person who talked to the cameras.
Like,
which
no,
I really
no Jess notes.
Yeah, I did have Jess notes. I should have like started talking in Spanish and just been like, notas con Jessica.
Yeah.
Hola todos. You know, and been like start talking in Spanish. You would have thought I was damn crazy. But I'm like the type of person where, I know it sounds insane, but like, I was raised where I never had time to talk to myself. I have 4 siblings, you know, it's me and 3 others. So it's like, I never had time to talk to myself, to talk aloud, to hear my own thoughts, to talk to, you know, to be talking in front of a mirror, or just say things to the air and hope that people, you know, pick up on it. It's just like a very odd feeling for me. So a lot of the things that I said were in the diary room, and because I didn't trust anybody. And I mean, that was like the one thing that I know that I wish I would have done better, was to explain that situation and why I didn't trust half of the people, or know that me picking someone for a veto needed to be explained, thinking that it was going to be shown, you know, thinking that it was going to be shown because I said it in the diary room, but note that I wasn't the main person of that of that week. So it didn't matter, you know, like we can see, like, I don't know if you guys see the challenge, but this is a perfect example to see how much editing makes a difference when you can cancel out a whole person like D right now. And you know that there were conversations that she was a part of. There were things and reasons why people didn't either like her, or even the whole fight with Rogan, whatever happened. Like, if you guys don't watch,
we watch
the challenge, but you know, it's very interesting how they could all automatically just take out a whole person out of the equation, and you never even really know she's there until it's time for her, you know, to get up in purgatory and get rid of her ass. You know what I mean? So it's just like, that's the power. That's the power of editing, and that's the power of production. And not everybody speaks out loud. Not everybody talks, you know, to themselves. It's not easy. You know, I know that some people would go, you know, on the
hammock.
On the hammock. I was going to say it in Spanish. I don't know why the hell I'm thinking in Spanish right now. We call it hamaca. But at the same time, like, they'd go on the hammock and they would just like start talking. I did it once and it felt so odd. It felt so weird. And I was just like, hi, I guess I should. It's like talking to God for the first time. And you're like, God, I don't really know how to pray. But if you're here and you're listening to me, I need help. You know, like, that's how I felt. It was just like, what do I say?
Well, and some people, when they do it, it's awkward, because there was Annalise for a minute, because her and Chrissy didn't know that America really was voting against them in the field trip and stuff. So she was like going like this to the cameras, like, please, America, send me something. And I'm like, honey, America is not here for you. So it is a very like odd moment, and it must be really strange, especially if you're not someone who talks to yourself. Now, I talk to myself all the time, and as a kid, I would interview myself in the mirror, because cuckoo. But Cliff took it to a point where it like changed the game, because he outed things, and all Christy had to do was wake up with, you know, everyone's, you know, going to the bathroom in the morning and just listen at the door, and she knew everything. And I think Cliff, as a super fan, he wanted to get on, you know, he was very strategic with holding the owl to make sure he got on after dark, saying it was to see his wife, but he ultimately wanted to kind of be that fan that got inside the house that then could communicate it to other fans out there. And then Rob has a podcast or something. I don't know, but it was I understood that after the fact, and I was just like, oh, that's something that I like, you know what, guys, don't even start with me. Don't start with me. You guys are awesome for sticking with us. Yes, girl. That was a long run we made. I know. I was very proud of us. My gosh. Well, you watch all the shows I watch, so come back soon. Let's like do this soon and talk about.
Absolutely. You let me know. You let me know what, and I'm totally down for it. Obviously, I'd be a completely different person talking about something else that's not CBS related. Oh my God, you'll hear all the shit from me.
Oh, but God. Okay. You got to DM me what those things are, because you're coming back.
Yeah. I mean, right now, obviously, there's only a couple more of the challenge left. I was watching. Kemi tried getting me into Vanderpump, and I just
this is the season to get into Vanderpump, because they're finally getting fired and exposed for their racist behavior.
I know, and I told Kemi, I was just like, thank God that I'm like watching it now, because I'm on season 2, and I couldn't stand Stassi from like the second episode, and I was just like, oh my God, I feel so bad that I can't stand this person. Like, what's wrong? Like, I tend to try to be very open-minded and very like nice.
Mm-hmm.
I really need to not like you. You need to be a pretty horrible human in order for me to not like you. I mean, Kemi, like, not Kemi, just like anybody in general, they kind of get a little upset that I am always looking at two sides of a story, you know, and I'm always that type of person who's going to give you like the other side.
Yeah, you trust before you judge. Like, you want to give someone a chance before you're just like,
Absolutely. And there was a person that I didn't like off the bat, and a friend of mine was like, no, she's great. And I went on 2 years not liking this girl, and I felt so horrible because I'm like, what's wrong with me that I don't like this girl? And then I got along with her one day, and I apologized to my friend, and I was like, I'm so sorry that I ever judged her. And they were like, no, bitch, I'm not talking to her anymore. You were totally right. And I was like, wow, thanks for letting me know. I just invested like a whole 2 hours talking to this bitch. Like, what the hell? But that's,
they could have told you. They could have told you. Well, Jess, we adore you. Sorry, you guys. There were so many questions and good comments that we just couldn't get to because I just really wanted to monopolize all her time. But she's gonna come back.
So I'll come back. I promise.
But so much love for you here in the chat, and our channel has just had. I say our because I feel like everyone who subscribes, we're all like coming together and geeking out over these shows that we love. We've adored you, and it's been so fun just chatting. So you're gonna come back. We've already decided. We don't have to say that anymore.
Absolutely.
I put a link in the description for Jess's Instagram. Go follow Jess on Insta. Any other things that you want them to go follow you on or check out? Or
no, really, like Insta and Twitter are really the only two. I'm kind of more active on Twitter these days because, hey, quarantine, and I don't want to get cute for Instagram. Right. So, yeah, that's a whole other, beast in itself. Twitter tends to be a lot, I don't know, easier since I don't have to put on makeup for it. So
that's true.
Yeah, so I think that's it for right now, but like check in. There's a lot of things that I'm kind of doing in the there will be things.
There are you're gonna do. Have you thought about the challenge or other shows like that, or have they hit you up?
So I will tell you this right now, hell to the no on the challenge. I'm good with that. Not my type of people. Mm-hmm. I love some of them, don't get me wrong, but like the majority of them, I'm just like not down with that.
You're probably too mature for that. Like they have even the people who are older than you on the challenge, the maturity level is a little.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, like me and Bananas are like pretty much around the same age. That's how fucking old I am. But like, I'm ancient. Like I should have been on. When I think about it, I should have been on I should have been on reality. I should have been on Real World or Road Rules.
So great on Real World, Jess.
Which is so crazy because literally back when I should have been on Road Rules or Real World, I was at least like 50 or 60 pounds thinner than I am. So technically, like I still would have been considered a big girl, but probably more like socially acceptable in that realm of things.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, I still feel like there is a lot of bias toward bigger girls in the media in general. So like I like to be in this. Don't get me wrong, like I love all of this, but it, the idea would be that people also like to see all of this, and all of this is still people. I don't know how people still feel about it. Some people are like, this is amazing, we need more representation, and other people are like, I don't want to see this on TV. Yes. So
those are the people
have a mixture of both.
Have internalized stuff that they're projecting.
Absolutely. But with the challenge, I feel like right now it's gotten very American Ninja Warrior. Yes. I love it, but at the same time, gosh, and I don't want to shame anybody. Like it's just like not my type of. I love the drama, and I love that. That all of this is happening, and there are some people that are friends of mine that are on the show, and that will be on other shows, that I get along with, that I enjoy to be around, and at the same time, it's I don't know, it's people like I couldn't be around D's, like girls like D, and that
D, Rogan, like, no, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're talking literally about how many people are on the challenge. Like you're talking about if there's 10 guys, you have about 7 jacks, and I don't, as as the type of I'm not an alpha female. I don't consider myself an alpha female. I'm kind of very in the middle, but I just can't stand that type of condescending, Zach type of attitude.
Oh, Zach's the worst. The worst.
Like, if you're telling me to come home because, like, you can't, I'm just like, what
Jenna
is that about?
Tried to get him baptized. I was like, girl, there's not enough holy water in the world to get
I'm just like, no. You do like, if you see my husband, there's things that we argue about, and I just be like, you do not talk to me like that. And no, that's not. He's like, I asked you if you could do this. I was like, I didn't hear you ask me. You kind of sounded like you told me, like, so I know that about myself. Like, those are bad situations. It's like someone told me Bad Girls Club, and I was just like, you got to be out of your damn mind. Like, who do you take me for?
Bad Girls Club. I wouldn't say that. I could see you, Jess, on The Circle.
Absolutely. I would definitely do The Circle. I would actually love to be on The Circle. I've talked to quite a few of them. I've talked to a few of them, and yeah, they were so genuine, and they were just so cute. Like, a little too nice.
Well,
it's too wholesome.
It's wholesome, but it's like it's fun though too. But it gets a little bit of a Survivor edit where you feel good watching it, where you're like, everyone has a backstory, And
are you watching the UK? Do you watch the UK version?
I watched the UK and I watched the US first.
So you see that the US, for some strange reason, has a very wholesome edit to it, whereas UK has a little bit more of that strategy going on. It has a little bit more of the backstabbing, a little bit more about the why you're gonna, This one was like everybody's friends. It should have been called Circle of Friends, like the Circle of Friends.
For real.
Because it was just like there was no like really backstabbing. It was just kind of like, well, we've been friends for a long time, so you guys, we're gonna vote you out because you just came into the friendship, so you no longer belong in this circle. So that was how I felt. Whereas like in the UK, it's very, very different, and there were some great characters there. So I would love to play more of a UK version of the circle.
UK is even the host. I love the US host, Michelle. She is a stand-up comedian and she's hilarious. And I love that they let her have her little takes. But even with the UK version, they're even more snarky and they have such a good sense of humor about themselves and the show. So I love that.
It's like the difference between like Love Island USA and Love Island UK. Like those are two very, very, very different shows. And like US, I don't really care for. UK, I like watched all 6 seasons. I'm like, I'm loving. I love. What was the sixth?
Well, I was just telling someone, or I was talking about that maybe last night with my friend Sarah, who has her channel Nerdtainment, because we're watching BB Australia right now, and it's amazing how I think it's like a cultural thing or something. But when you see like BB UK, I've watched BB Australia, BB Can, they seem to be a lot of the players, and the show itself has a better sense of humor about itself. Where I feel like some of the US players get really offended, and you can tell that even when Zingbot comes in and stuff like that, these BBAU players, I mean, Australia, they are willing to just do anything and make a fool of themselves because they know it's fun and they're on TV. But some of these guys, especially that do like BBUS, are just like, no, I don't, you try to make me look stupid. It's like, dude, you got to have a sense of humor about yourself.
And very nice too. Like I saw one of the BB Australia, and I was just like, since when was Big Brother so nice with these like conversations of like, I was like, that's very insane to me. And then the whole punishment about like napping and everything. God, I wish that was a thing in the house because I don't know why everybody thought I was napping. Someone was, and this is where they say you get the lazy brown girl edit. Let me set the record straight right now that the people who napped the most, I'm gonna call them all out right now. Yes. It was Kat. It was Holly and it was Nikki. Those were the 3 people that slept the most in the entire season. We called Holly Sleepy Holly. That's how much she slept. And then she would get upset. She would get upset because Kat would sleep. She would sleep ridiculous amounts in the morning, but would never get called out. And then she was like, everybody's gonna be, everybody. I get called out because I fall asleep, but nobody calls out Kat. Okay. And then people on Twitter here are saying that I'm the one that's sleeping, that I'm the lazy girl. You're all racist, all of you.
Seriously, because I don't know what he's watching, because we all saw Kat and everyone was talking about Kat sleeping a lot.
That's all we talked about. It's like all you guys are doing is sleep. Like, it was hard for people not to sleep. So many people, I mean, there were times where things were just like boring. You guys know that, but
boring.
But it wasn't like I was just like constantly asleep somewhere. It was insane to me. I was like, wow, this is, what are they watching right now?
That's the thing. Big Brother community, sometimes, like, even as fans, there's people who are on totally different sides, and I'm like, are you watching the same show I'm watching? Because I literally will go in some of these Big Brother Facebook groups, and these people have like rose-colored glasses, and they're like watching a different show.
It's very interesting. That's exactly what it is, and it's just the way people process information, and it's why it's why people who actually play the game misinterpret things and don't get along, or have a misunderstanding, or even perceive things in completely different ways. It's really eye-opening what we think was like, I never said that, I never said that. And then you get the edit of you saying it like maybe 3 or 4 times, and you're just,
oh no, Jess. StreamYard is like, okay, you two, you're having too much fun. Okay, we got her back. Yay!
It hates me. Next time, I promise, like, they will have my internet situation all figured out. But seriously, they were trying to fix it today. And obviously it's not. It's not.
We just appreciate your time. I know I appreciate your time, and I'm definitely going to hit you up, and we're going to, do this again soon. So this has been great. You guys, thank you for joining. Make sure you go follow Jess on Instagram. Give her lots of love, and thank her for just like spending all this time with us, because this was really fun. I mean, this is really cool for a Big Brother fan. We don't know a lot of things behind the scenes, stuff like that, and you were just so open and cool, just like I knew you would.
I hope you guys, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people know this. Maybe I said something that was very eye-opening for you guys. I'm not sure. Hopefully I didn't talk too much shit. Like, I try not to.
You were like diplomatic, but also very authentic. So I like that.
Yeah, I feel like I try. I honestly feel like I haven't told you guys anything, which is really interesting. I feel like sometimes you feel like you have all of this, like, oh, I'm gonna say this and this and this, and everything that I can say in an hour, and then we're already at the 2.5 hour mark, and I feel like I really haven't even like given you the juicy details of anything.
That's why we have you back, Jess. We have many more questions. Oh my God.
Well, some of my friends, like, or the fans that have now become good friends of mine, like I say things and their eyes like get really wide, and they're just like, whoa, we didn't know that. And I'm just like, oh, really? I thought that was just like apparent, and they're just like, no, this is really like great information. They're like, you should go on, like, Rob has a podcast or something. And I was like, Rob doesn't want me on his podcast.
Why?
Why?
Listen, we're about to be bigger. Rob has a podcast, so don't worry.
Everybody go to Rob and say, you need to do. You need to ask Jessica to be a part of your podcast, because
he's sweet. He'll do it.
No, I'm sure. Like, we all follow each other. I follow Tara and I follow him. Like, I love his podcast. A lot of some of his patrons are good friends of mine. Oh. So that's how, like, the whole Survivor thing was actually through his kind of network of people. So it was just really cool. Like, we're connected and whatnot. Yeah. But I never got asked, like, I don't think I had like a full, recap with gameplay and all of that stuff. But I assume like people just,
I think people
didn't think I was playing the game.
But I think people reach out to them, Jess. I think if you reached out, if you're comfortable doing that, I think for sure they would have you on, because like the Caitlin Hermans, let's be real. She reaches out. She's like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
She'll knock on the door. She's like, hey, I need you to.
She reached out so far, they had her on and then they got rid of her. So, you know what I mean? Like, they'll have you on, Jess. Just reach out to them, like, for sure. And we'll reach out, because there's a lot of people in here, and there's some of their mods actually join our live. So if you guys reach out to Rob Has a Podcast and say, we want to hear from Jess, because she was just on Joleen's show and she was like sharing a lot of game stuff. She's a huge Survivor fan, like all the competition shows. I mean, it'd be a perfect conversation. So we'll make it happen. We're going to make it happen. All right, you guys.
Make it happen.
Jess, thank you so much again. Don't forget to like this video, you guys, and subscribe if you're not already. And we will talk to Jess again very soon. Have a great Friday night. Bye, guys.
Thank you for having me. Bye, everybody. Thank you.